Ready Check Radio.
What's up, Internet? Welcome. We're finally here. The premiere episode. The premiere show on Ready Check Radio, too. The first show to break the ground of our podcast. Couple more coming, but welcome to the Relic Grind. This is our Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast, episode 1. You're watching. It's October 15th. Chat is here live with us. If you're not live, you're watching it on YouTube or on the site. That's fine, too. Put your comments in. We'll be sure to review them for next week's show. I've got a couple gentlemen that are going to go through some stuff with me. We had live letter 60 on the Final Fantasy XIV front. But this isn't just a 14 show, so we've got some other Square Enix news for you. Some good, some maybe, not so good. Maybe it could be better. It made money. I don't know if it'll keep making. We'll get to it a little later. But before we do, I need to introduce my hosts. Also on the line with me, Mr. Chris Montoya, aka Tarkoth. How are you, sir?
Greetings, programs. I am fabulous. Thanks for having me.
No. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Relic Grind. I think, so many viewers will probably, if they followed Final Fantasy XIV for a while, may know me from XIV or appearing on State of the Realm with Mr. Happy and stuff. But let's get a little intro into you, Chris. Where do you come from? What's your experience with Final Fantasy XIV? All that good stuff.
I started with Final Fantasy XIV back in 1.0. I have the collector's box somewhere. It's sitting on a shelf and shall collect us for eternity. I played about a month and realized that game was hot garbage.
It took you a month.
Back. It took me a month.
I'm questioning your judgment. I'm questioning.
and he got the collector's edition, so I was invested. But no, it was not good. But been playing since A Realm Reborn started and have not left. It is amazing, and I love it, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Also on the line, Mr. Adam Lane, a.k.a. Chronos. What's up, Adam? How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How you doing?
No, I can't complain. Nobody listens. You know how it is. Nobody listens. So, Adam, many know you from other things, but as far as the 14 front, let's get a little recap about where you come from on the game.
Sure. Yeah. So I did not play 1.0. Did not get to experience that. I've only been able to live it through like what people had on YouTube, stuff like that. Looking up like lore that I missed out on. I started around patch 2.1-ish. So not quite on release, but pretty shortly after.
Was this like a friend talked you into it type thing?
Well, I'm big into Final Fantasy, right? But I was never so much big into the MMO side. Didn't play really 11 at all. So 14, I had to be kind of coerced and talked into. But a lot of my friends were playing it, and they got me into like raiding, essentially. I remember kind of stepping into Second Coil Bahamut back then. So it's a while ago. And the raiding kind of hooked me, and then everything else hooked me from there. So
it is good at that. It is definitely good at that. And we're not going to rehash like the merits of 14. If you're watching this show, you know the merits of 14. So just to give you a little introduction, Adam and I, so Tarkoth, you and I have known each other for quite some time, from back through Game Breaker, actually. So that's, 6 years, 7 years ago now. Adam, you and I have like a different beginning of our friendship. Ours comes from the actual Final Fantasy trading card game, not an online game at all. So, I mean, you're a few states away, but we met through a number of tournaments and all that stuff.
Way.
What's that?
You got to meet in person the old-fashioned
way.
Yeah,
we had to do the old-fashioned way. Shake hands. As you were with the RVA Returners, did content for Final Fantasy TCG. Yes, the people in chat that don't know, there is a trading card game. It is fantastic. A new set comes out in like 2 weeks here. So 3 weeks, sorry. Yes, absolutely. You've seen me plug that before. We're going to do that again. We will talk about that on this show. Not today. There's not really a whole lot of news, but in a couple of weeks, expect that to be a topic on the show. So, gentlemen, I think we should just get right down to it. For the Final Fantasy XIV fans out there, this has been kind of a good week after a very long, extended doldrums. I say long. Other games have gone longer. I mean, but it's longer than we are used to as Final Fantasy XIV fans, with patches being delayed due to COVID and things like that. But this week, we actually had some good stuff happen. We had Live Letter 60 on Friday, the 9th. Then, of course, we had 5.35 and Bozja come to the game this week as well. We're going to go through the Live Letter here because there are some things I want to get your opinions on. Let's keep Bozja for its own topic, though. I mean, although they did talk about it in the Live Letter, since that is live, let's kind of treat that a little differently. We'll set it off to the side. We'll do that after the Live Letter. And, I mean, there weren't really, like, tons of spoilers in it. It wasn't like spoilerific or anything. Maybe one or two what somebody might consider a minor spoiler, so we'll kind of stay away from them, but we'll get to that in a second. There is a card game. You can play Scions. Yes, you can. For a long time, it was a meta deck. They were very meta for a little while, and there's some new ones coming out in the new set.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that's Greg Cole.
It's got to be.
By the way.
It's got to be. It's got to be Greg busting my balls. Who, by the way, Greg Cole's one of the masters at running the Scions deck for everybody else in chat. Greg, see, now we're already sidetracked. 8 minutes into the show, we're already sidetracked. Greg Cole made Scions beat meta decks when it wasn't a meta deck anymore. Just so you know, his love for Scions is totally legit, and it's fun watching him play it. Anyway, back to the Live Letter, Live Letter 60. Let's start with the big one. Adam, we'll start with you. 5.4 was revealed. We got the name, Futures Rewritten. We got a release date window, early December, so probably one of the first 2 Tuesdays of December is usually what that kind of indicates. Still on track for that date and continues the main scenario. What do you think? Futures Rewritten, I think it kind of speaks to where we might be going here. Some things have changed that might alter the future already. So what were your thoughts on the reveal and them still being on track here?
Yeah, so I was actually surprised that it's going to be as early as it is. I was kind of expecting something maybe later in the month, maybe almost like beginning of New Year. But I think we can kind of infer from this, based on like what we know, because if Final Fantasy is anything, 14 that is, they're pretty predictable, right? And that's a good and a bad thing. I'm sure we'll discuss that many times on the show. So my guess is probably somewhere like December 8th is when this is going to release. As far as the title goes, yeah, it says a lot, right? I mean, that's a pretty big title to kind of throw out there. Like you said, we've gone to this other realm at this point. We've done a lot of things, and those people from there were from different times, and so it's going to probably be a lot of things where now we're coming back to the source and seeing how what we've done kind of affects that now that we're kind of done with the Shadowbringer story as it is. So I'm interested to see where they go. There's a lot of options they can do. I mean, obviously, we still have the stuff from the end of the last patch, so that kind of thing that Stormblood's really never ended kind of thing. So I'm interested to see where they're going. It's really hard for me to determine exactly what they're going to do, though, because like I said, there's so many options. And
we kind of don't care in the world of Final Fantasy XIV about timelines and alternate universes. We're just like, yeah, you want to come back to the other one? That's fine. Here, jump in this crystal. Come on, let's go. We're going to bring you back. Oh, wake up. Welcome. You're a Scion. How are you? You're like, oh, okay, shit, sure. I'm a Scion. Awesome. I love it. So we really don't care about paradoxes or breaking anything. So, Chris, this could go in a number of different directions, right?
Yeah. We spend a whole expansion and a whole nother plane of existence. So the fact that we're coming back feels good, though. We're going to get back to hopefully to Xenos, Fanadiel, or Asai, as some people know him. And I hope we can tie up some loose ends with this Futures Rewritten. It was said by Grahatia at the very first trailer for Shadowbringers. If it needs to be written, rewrite the future. So I'm excited for what's going to come leading up to the next expansion.
Adam, there's a man taking notes right there.
Damn,
he busted out some quotes from trailers from months and months and months ago. He saw the show notes and was like, all right, time to research this.
I'm going to be ready.
He's going to be ready. New dungeon, predictably, coming this patch, Matoya's Relic. It is trust usable. So, I mean, we don't have a lot of info on the dungeon itself. If you have a thought or two about it, I really don't. I do like Matoya as a character. It's one of my favorite mounts is the damn broom. And I don't know why. It's dumb. It's just a broom. But I feel like that mount is faster than every other mount I own. I know that's not the case, but visually that mount looks faster than every other mount when the animations go off. But more importantly, Adam, are you a trust guy? Like, do you run with trusts? Did you in the story when the expansion came out and through all the patches now? Because I'm more of I love running the dungeons with a trust the first time through the story. That way I can learn the mechanics and not piss off a bunch of people. And I've never found it like, too easy or too hard or anything. It was fine. Just walk through and do it. But I know a lot of people have like a big dislike for the trust, and that I kind of don't get.
They're a bit slow, right? I usually run with my friends the first time through because a lot of us are on when the patch drops. As far as trust, I have them all max level just because I legit do pretty much everything in this game, or at least I try to.
Right.
So I mean, I haven't really ran actually any expert dungeons with trust though. I leveled my trust up to 80 and then kind of just stopped. I'm the type of person that would rather run with friends or run just the roulette, just get random people. But I understand the purpose of them, why they're there, and it's cool to do it from like a story perspective. I think a lot of people that are really big lore buffs or whatever will just want to run the dungeons with the characters that are like quote unquote supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But it's really never been my thing, honestly.
I like Torchwick in chat. I'm the opposite. I learn faster having someone tell me what I need to do. Yeah, I it's not a question of like learning it faster. I would just rather not piss off strangers, Chris, the first time through, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, that's how that mechanic works. Oh, okay, get in the pit, and it creates the illusion of the effect going over you. Okay, that's cool, by the way. I like that. Okay, now I know.
When the trust did that, did they all go in the pit?
Oh, yeah.
Because we all died. Yeah, we like, because we're all raiders. We try to cheese as much stuff as we can.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're like, oh, okay, this is probably a knockback. We're okay. Oh, what's that big hole over there?
Yep.
And then we all died. And we're like, oh, okay, we see what we have to do now. That's part of the fun too, also. But like I said, I totally understand the trust thing and why people actually prefer that. And I think it's a good thing. Like, there's no reason why we can't have that in the game. So
yeah, and I mean, in Final Fantasy, it comes from Final Fantasy XI, right? For those of you that aren't playing that or never played it, that the trust system is it's a little more comprehensive, like, because it has to be, right? The player base of Final Fantasy XI is not what it used to be, and so you kind of need people to play with, so your trust members can literally run around the world with you and just do whatever and farm stuff. So comes from there, although a little more limited. Chris, are you a trust user, or it just doesn't appeal to you? Do you bother with it at all? What?
I am not a trust user. I haven't stepped into one dungeon with a trust yet.
Seriously, not one.
Nope.
Not even like
once.
to test the system.
I
see, because I remember that was a huge thing too when it came out, right? We were getting so sidetracked. It was like, let's see how dumb the AI is, Adam. I want to see.
I definitely tried it. So
yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
I like playing with other players. When a patch comes out, I like doing it with those players. I'm probably in that dungeon, in the first hour or two, and we're all wiping the same mechanics together, so we're all learning together. So I like that experience with other people. I get where you're coming from, doing the dungeon once with a trust and learning the mechanics, and then you're good to go. I just haven't had a need for the trust system yet. So I'm glad you guys have used it, and I'm glad it's in the game for those that do need it. People have explained to me their problems with 20-minute queue times when they're DPS, and that's awful. So I'm glad this is something that people get to use. I just haven't needed it myself.
Feeling kind of attacked there. He was like, I'm glad it's in the game, and I'm glad it's there for people who need it.
Well, as a healer, man, I get those instant queues, so it's like,
I'm glad it's in there for the people that need it. Those plebes, those plebes. No, and I get your point though. when I'm doing like raids, or whether it's an 8-man or 24-man, or trials or extremes, or any of the savage versions or anything like that, then yeah, obviously I would never want the trust to be part of that. I mean, Neobaro already pointed out in chat that the DPS with the trust system is obviously slower. You wouldn't expect it to be on par with somebody actually playing and things like that. I find it useful to, when I was doing the story, when the expansion came out and through all the patches, I ran the dungeon right when it came up in the story, ran it once with the trust, and then that was it. I used it to learn the mechanics and to, hey, I want to keep questing and leveling up my character. I don't want to be, because I do primarily run DPS, right? I'm a black mage guy, red mage guy, all of that stuff. So queues do take a little longer. I don't want to be held up by that. Let me keep my progression and my leveling going. So I do like it from that aspect. Will I run Matoya's dungeon with it? Absolutely, yeah. I probably will run it the first time with the trust for the same reasons. Just to get one under my belt, see the bosses, see the lore, the stories that go with the quest, and then, boom, away we go from there. But I feel
just
attacked.
To touch on one, just touch on one more thing for the dungeon too, because it's got Matoya's name in it. We have 2 of those now, right?
Yeah.
Which
technically
Matoya?
we have 2.
Which Matoya?
Yeah, so, technically we have 2. Well, we have one and one that poses.
Yeah. So, I mean, because it's a story dungeon, I feel like it's probably going to touch on that somehow.
Yeah.
So
yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
And it could be either one, because the older one is getting pretty old. We're getting up there, might be her time, and then the other one has some issues
forecasting
with
the deaths of NPCs and.
I'm just hey, we haven't had a major death in quite a while.
In quite a while.
Little edge on that. And the other one, had problems with the live stream and kind of blind, and she's probably going to pass at some point. So. Which one?
Sees a lot for being blind. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
As far as other PvE content, Emerald Weapon, so that whole Sorrow quest line continuing, an extreme version. What did you guys think of this, by the way? The previous fight and the continuation here. I thought it was neat, but like kind of it felt out of place for me almost, Adam. Like the story is cool. What's going on there? The orphans and the weapons that are coming in, but I don't know. This whole little segment, this like one-off fight. Hey, jump in this weapon and go fight. It just. Yeah, that was fun. That was interesting. The story is cool, but wow, it seems like it's on its own little Final Fantasy island for me almost.
I 100% agree with you. It's weird. It was fun the first time, and it's also weird that you can't repeat it.
Yeah.
That you can't, even if you have a lot of fun with it, you can't go back and you can't do it again. So see, it feels like they have to do something with it at some point. Like maybe they're gonna have more stuff like that. And it was a lot deeper than I thought it would be. Like I thought we were gonna get in there, you're gonna have like maybe 2 or 3 buttons.
Right.
It's going to die in 5 seconds, and you're going to be done. Kind of like, any other kind of solo quest where you get to
like
play
any of the
else.
duty type stuff, yeah.
Right. But it was a lot deeper than that, which seemed weird because it makes it feel like they spent a lot of time and resources on it. And it was fun, but you're right. It's like, it's kind of on its own island. Like, you don't really know where to place it when you're, like, if you had to explain how content worked in this game, that's just one you probably either forget about or not know where to put it. It's really weird.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, did you do the whole Ruby Emerald weapon thing? No. Shit, I don't even remember where you get that.
Well, we have a little bit of a history with that, right?
We do.
Back in Stormblood, the 4 lords, when we were doing Tsukiyoma's Pain, they had to do something, so they gave us a dungeon for it, Swallow's Compass. So they did something with the story to keep it, fresh in people's minds. It's just a little bit different than what we had last expansion from this time frame.
You do have to, I mean, you agree though, right? It does feel kind of like not, there's a lot in MMOs in general, right? There's like all this main stuff that you normally do. And if you got a friend in, it's the stuff you're going to buzz them through real quick. Then there's this whole column of periphery, secondary stuff, right? Okay, these are the dungeons you don't need for the story, but we're going to want to open up so that you can open up roulettes later. So let's run those. And that's typically like if Adam was just starting, I'd say, okay, here's the stuff we want to get you done right away. Here's the stuff we want to do. This is like almost like even outside that list, like maybe 4 lists down the Excel sheet of stuff that there. I'm not bitching about new content or more stuff to do or more great stories, by the way. Love it, love it, love it. And as long as they keep adding, like, I'm going to check this out. I can't wait to check this out. I hope it's as neat and as the other one, but it does seem a little out of place.
So what if you could put your finger on it, what do you think makes it out of place?
Probably the fact that I've got to go through about 2 different zones before I can even get to it. It's so off the beaten path. And then the story, I like the story aspect of it. I'm really enjoying that story, and I do want to see where that story goes. But the fight was so unlike, even Adam, you referenced the other duties and things like that. It was so unlike those that it felt even more different than some of the stuff. If this is building somewhere, cool. If it's going to be more of these, they're things that even if they were repeatable, and we don't know what's coming and what will be repeatable, we just know that the most recent version wasn't. Even if they were repeatable, I don't think I'd ever do them again. They're just like so ancillary to everything that they're little, I don't know, they're just little one-offs to me. Yeah, that was cool. Great. Love the story. Fantastic. If I want to see cutscenes again, I'll go watch them, but I'm never going to do that bit of content again. Even if I was raising a 14 neophyte through, like Adam, you said, it'd be one of those things I absolutely would forget to say, hey, let's go do. None of this is bad. And I didn't mean to sidetrack the discussion into this this segment. It just feels weird that it's this odd little thingy.
They put some of the one-offs from the MSQ and they put that into this side story, so it does make it feel a little disjointed.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. You took somebody that was in the main story at that almost exact moment. I mean, a little bit removed from being main character-ish. And then made this whole side story with them, and I think that kind of disrupted it a little for me. I'm in favor of it. We'll play it. It's coming. Great.
Yep.
There we go. More for, and I think we should stop here, actually, and talk a little bit about everybody's play style when it comes to this type of stuff so that everybody watching knows where each of the 3 of us might be coming from on this topic. Eden Raid and Savage versions, the continuation of the Eden Raid and Savage versions, that's coming. So for those of you that don't know, I am a casual 14 player. I do 8-man raids. I do 24-man raids. I do them when they're new, with the exception of the first bout of Eden because I wasn't playing. I was doing a bunch of other stuff on MMO Bomb at the time, getting new stuff fired up there. So I didn't do Eden the day it came out. I do trials. I do all that stuff. I do the extreme versions of trials. I usually am not a Savage Raider. That's not to say that I won't learn them and won't do them, but I am not a hardcore, gotta progress the day it comes out, let's start learning this fight. That's not me. I'm like one step removed from the Savage. I'll take them on in weeks 2 and 3 when you guys have already figured out how to do them, and I don't have to put in the learning time. My schedule does not permit that anymore. Tell me what to do, and we'll go kill it. I'll die a few times. We'll figure it out, but I'm not going to be the cause of the raid wipe 17 times in one night. That's just not my life in MMOs anymore. So one step removed from progression rating is where I come from. Adam, what about, let's go with you first, because you're, I think, a little further than I am on that one.
Yeah, so rating is the primary reason I play the game, for sure. So I've cleared all the ultimates. I typically we're not like, I'm not like super hardcore. I'm not world first prog. Like, we're not going in.
Right. None of us are doing stuff like that.
Yeah, 18-hour days. But we do like, my group does about 3 days a week. We do go in the first week it's out. We try to grab as many strats from other people as we can so that we don't have to suffer the same way they did it, like 6 a.m. that day. And typically, we clear probably within somewhere like the 3 to 5 week range. We've cleared all the fights. So I'm like, not, somewhere probably not quite super hardcore, but somewhere in the middle between like midcore and hardcore is kind of where I'm at. And then we eventually do the ultimate fights. So I've cleared every ultimate fight. And then, like, I think currently right now we're actually doing a lot of the Blue Mage stuff because we're in a content drought as far as rating is concerned. So
just a little,
but that seems to be coming like on the horizon. We're not going to be bored anymore. So
Tarkov.
I guess I'm a little bit in between you two.
Yeah, I think we got a nice little grouping across the whole board for us.
Yeah, so I'm definitely into Savage raiding. My team Salt, shout out. We usually get the first boss in the first week, and the next boss in the next week. Third boss usually takes another 2 weeks, and then another 3 to 4 for the final boss in a tier. I've dipped my toes into ultimate raiding, doing Uwu right now, up to suppression. So I'm working on that. I love the raiding content. I wish there was more of it. But I'm excited for the next Eden tier and where the story also leads to that.
I'm enjoying Eden more than I enjoyed Omega.
I concur.
And we debated this on State of the Realm, the last show I was on. I seem to be in the minority, actually, of people that enjoyed Omega at all. But I was okay with it. I liked it. But I am enjoying Eden. I am very excited to see where this next phase goes, Adam.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. The story, well, the primals are gone, which is probably the most exciting thing for me. So now we're gonna actually get like bosses that are more unique, I guess. Not to say that the primals weren't, because like even though they're the same name, they're still pretty fun.
Yeah, they were unique mechanically.
Right.
Yeah, different, nice reimaginings.
I think a lot of people are expecting to see maybe some Ultimecia coming soon, which is pretty cool if that's
Cross
the
my
case.
fingers.
And I'm really hoping that it's Savage, maybe Savage only is like we get Griever or something like that. I think that would be really sweet. But I mean, who knows? We'll have to see more. We haven't even seen like any screenshots. All we got is the name, which is Eden's Promise. So
yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot for us to talk about other than that they're coming. But I figured we'd use it as a nice little intro to R3, like where everybody's coming from for viewers going forward, so they know. Sure. That's the hardcore raider guy. That's the casual one. That's the one that does this. Yep, so they know. Here's another vague one for you. A lot of vagueness on this topic. Job adjustments, both in PvE and PvP coming. That was like it. They just kept mentioning that there would be job adjustments, question after question. They did kind of, Yoshi P kind of alluded to Monk getting a little more than some of the other jobs. A kind of almost a rework here, Tark. I don't know if you'd call it a full rework, but they did allude to that one needs a little more and is going to be getting a little more love here.
Yeah, he'd alluded to that the previous live letter about reworking how Grease Lightning works in general. So I have a Monk friend that is really excited to see where that goes. I, not being a Monk player myself, I'm like, okay, sure, yeah, they get a rework. Ninja got a rework. Summoner's got a rework, so it's Monk's time. They've needed some love for a while, and I hope the Monk players are happy with the changes they make.
On the other side, like the extreme PvE side of things here, like extreme PvE, Blue Mage getting more love, going to get levels 60 through 70. Does this excite anybody on the panel? Like, I don't know how you two feel about the whole limited jobs to begin with. Adam?
When they first announced it, we were
if that didn't tell you everything you needed to know right there, when Adam was like, well...
Let me leave you with this. So if you get a group of 8 people together to do the Blue Mage stuff, see, here's the weird thing, and I might go off on a little tangent here. So I apologize. When they first announced it, it was supposed to be a solo thing, right?
Right.
They're like, okay, here's going to be this job you do by yourself. You do all these things by yourself. You can do these other things. And then you can maybe do some dungeons, like whatever. It's going to be kind of casual. And then they're like, okay, here's this mount that everybody wants.
Yep.
Oh, okay. To do it, you have to sink down, no echo, and do these 3 fights, or do these fights all in these tiers. So now you're like, well, which is it? Is it a solo thing, or is it something you want me to do Savage fights? Because now you've locked this reward behind that. Now, that being said, if you can get 8 people to get Blue Mage and do all that stuff, it is fun to do. You have to approach the fights very differently, especially tanks and healers can't really do kind of similar things that they can do. You get to kind of nuke the bosses down. You get spells that do a lot of damage. It just kind of sucks that there's this iconic class that a lot of people like from other games. And when you come in here and you tell them, like, okay, Blue Mage is in the game, but pump the brakes, you can't really play it with other jobs. You have to play it with other Blue Mages. Kind of sucks.
I was I love Blue Mage, right? I mean, you know me and the mages. I love them anyway. But Blue Mage, loved it in Final Fantasy XI. even when I first heard, hey, about the limited class and everything, I was like, okay, you know what? That's not bad. I can appreciate that because I understand why it might not work in conjunction with the rest of the classes in raids or in dungeons. Okay, fine. Like I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, that's fine. I'll try it. I honestly, I think my blue mage is like level 30 because after that, I'm very much a you don't pay my sub kind of guy.
Yeah.
So if I don't want to do it, I don't. Like I just don't. So blue mage for me, even though I love the class, I got it I think to like 30, 35, somewhere around there, and I was like, no, I'm done with this one. And it's just been sitting there ever since.
I think that's totally fair. I think the big question mark here with the increasing from 60 to 70 is whether or not they're going to let blue mages do ultimate fights. Because you know they're going to let them raid again. They're probably going to lock either a mount or a title or something.
Blue uwu.
But I wonder if they're going to let them do uwu, and in order for them to do uwu or T for that matter, when they eventually get there, they're going to need to have some kind of limit break, which they don't have access to right now.
Right.
So that could be coming. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see. My gut tells me they're not going to allow it. They're going to, because they don't even allow them in Palace of the Dead right now, which I feel like is kind of why not kind of thing. But I get that they don't want to devalue those people that have like actually done Palace of the Dead legit, and they probably won't want to devalue the people that have done the ultimates as well. So I imagine they're going to keep them out, but I'm sure people are going to be questioning it whether or not they do it.
On this front, Tarkoth, do you think we get more limited classes going forward?
Oh,
like I mean, there's been
question.
talk about Beastmaster and classes like those iconic classes that when you sit there and think about it, you're like, wow, really? How would they implement that in this one? That there's an extra challenge there.
Sure. I'm going to say no, mainly because I feel Blue Mage has just created a whole separate subculture that is just separate from the rest of the game. It can't, go into duty roulettes. It can't just queue up by itself. You have to play with other Blue Mages. I don't think they want to separate even further with another limited job unless that limited job can also work with Blue Mages. So they have the main game and then you have the limited job section of the game. But I just don't see them, repeating unless they make some changes. Blue Mages, where it's at, they're going to keep giving it a little bit more content. You can crank out some cool stuff with their achievements, but this is probably the last limited job.
Yeah, and I don't want to get into speculation about different classes and stuff. I'm sure we will get there because we'll be getting news in February and things like that. So we'll do that on those shows, but I did want to, Adam, get your take. Do you think we get another limited class in this, or do you think Blue Mage, the test, kind of was maybe not the success they had hoped it might be, that would open up this new avenue for implementing iconic classes that really didn't fit the mold of tank, healer, DPS, hardcore Trinity built MMO?
So I think they are going to do it. I know that Blue Mage hasn't really gotten the best feedback, for sure. Like, I think a lot of people have complained. There are some people that like it, but I'd say it's mostly complaints. I think Beastmaster, I think that rumor is probably going to maybe turn out to be legit, because I don't think they're going to want to have a class that comes in. They're going to probably say that you can't balance it and you're going to be able to go out and probably get monsters or whatever. But it's hard to say because I feel like we're getting more blue content than I thought we would get this fast, which kind of surprised me because this is something I probably wasn't expecting until like 6.0 maybe. And so if we're already catching up on the raids this fast with Blue Mage, it makes me think there's something else that they're doing kind of behind the scenes. I was
expecting a 5.5.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Adam. I do think we will get other limited class. I do think Beastmaster will be one of them. When we get it, I have no idea. Would that be an expansion item? I think that's most likely, or even a post-expansion patch. But your guess is as good as mine as far as when. But I think I lean more towards your side of this, Adam, personally. I think, we'll get a Beastmaster or a limited class. What I don't know is how many more we'll get. I could see maybe a 1 or 2 and then that being it, because it feels like if they don't give us 1 or 2 more, then Blue Mage really is on its own freaking island in the middle of nowhere doing its own blue thing, where if they put in at least one, ideally probably two more, with some nice variety, you know, although Beastmaster, I guess, is technically just a version of Blue Mage, right? You don't get the spell from the monster, you get the fucking monster. You know, I think if they don't add one or two more, then it's kind of like, well, you added this whole thing in and then didn't do anything with it. So they're almost in a position, in my opinion, where they have to add at least one or two more to it.
And then just the last thing is they definitely have been known for like trying something, failing, and then trying it again. So like,
you know, like the whole game,
you
know, like the entire freaking game.
I didn't mean it like that, but that is very true. I kind of meant like Diadem was a thing that definitely failed, and now we still have Diadem in the game, but in a different way. So it's very possible.
Yeah, that was great, Adam. Save Queen scenario being updated in patch 5.45. So this isn't December. This is going to be a little later. This is when the resistance weapon upgrades, the next ones, I guess, would be available. Kind of weird that they talked about this here when they also were talking about the resistance level upgrades that were released this week. So they kind of teased that the next one's coming. Normal difficulty version of battle content. Delubrum Regine will be added. Normal difficulties 24 players, and Savage will be 48 players. You got to form into parties. I really don't care about this. I should preface this with me personally. I will do the current relic, the current resistance weapon upgrade, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I will do it. I did not do the last two. Again, you don't pay my sub type deal. I don't care. I don't care. I would love to have the what? No, I'm not sitting there. They totally lost me back at Atma grinding. Way back when for Atma grinding, I was like, yeah, I don't enjoy content like that anymore. When I was younger,
memories.
Fine. I don't have that kind of time anymore. If you're not going to let me come with your raid because I'm missing 10 points off my weapon, I don't care. Then I wasn't meant to go with your raid, I guess. So this really isn't a big one for me. I'll defer to you two if you have thoughts on it, but there really wasn't much more than the exact 2 sentences I gave you on exactly what it means. So we'll start with you, Tark, if you have anything on this one.
Yeah, I'm glad that they let us know that
I keep hitting the wrong button for Tark. Sorry about
that. First show problems. I'm glad that they let us know that Baldessian Arsenal 2.0 is coming out now, so that people don't get bored of it and then have regret later. Like, oh, you put this out. They're letting us know right now. Stick with it. There's this piece of content that you're probably going to want to be in, so you don't have to play catch up. So stick with the content. Get your ranks, and then you'll be ready when this comes out. So I'm glad that they let us know before the first set of the content actually came out, so people know what the expectation is. That was my problem with Eureka. You know, I got into Eureka and it was kind of boring, and I'm like, I don't really understand the point of this. You know, the relics, okay, you know, whatever. You don't pay my sub, so I let it go. But then a year later, they let us know, oh, there's this great piece of content, Baldessian Arsenal. You're going to get into it. It's going to be fun and a huge group of people, challenging content. And I'm like, but I'm stuck way back at the first part of Eureka because I dipped out.
Yep. I don't know.
Yeah, I did that same thing too. I actually remember stepping foot in Animos and then being like, nope, I don't like this after about a couple hours, and I left. And then when I found out like BA was a thing, because I had taken a break from the game a little bit during that time, I came back. I had to grind all the way back through Eureka, which honestly was not fun.
No.
But when I got to the end, BA was kind of fun, to be honest, if you can actually get 48 people. I am excited, though, that there's a normal mode of this. I think that makes it way more accessible.
Yeah, at half the player count, too.
Yeah. They gave us kind of a teaser of this a little bit. It's not really what BA was, but we have something in the content that we'll talk about at the end. But there's a little bit of a teaser for this. I guess, like, kind of dip your feet in. So I think overall this is a good change. And like Tarkov said, I think it's good that they're making this known that this is going to be a thing that players can strive for, so that if you want to like just kind of get through the phase you're on and then stop, so that you're ready for the phase that you want to do. I think that's a good thing.
What's ironic, I think, on my side is I have this huge love for Final Fantasy XI back in the day, and this nostalgia for notorious monster grinding and, you know, tagging and all this stuff. So I like had this I'm gonna love Eureka. I'm gonna love Eureka. I mean, this is like a throw, and like, no, God, no. I want out. I want out. Let that still just be nostalgia for me. I don't actually want to do this anymore.
Another good thing that they're doing with this is that they're going to be using the in-game systems, so you don't have to develop these parties in these organized discords outside the game and then hope it all works out once you're trying to set up for Bardessian Arsenal 2.0.
Yeah.
It'll be in the game, you set up your group, and then you queue in. So that is a much needed change.
Yeah, and no portals, thank God. No portals.
Thank God.
Crafters and gatherers getting some love. Ishgardian Restoration gets its last phase in this patch too. Either of you huge crafters, gatherers?
Not big, but I'm surprised that the last phase is now.
Yeah, it does seem a little early, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Makes me feel like
early.
housing's coming sooner than we think.
Yeah.
In Ishgard.
Yeah, 5.5. Here's your Ishgardian housing. Yay. I'm not big on crafting. I want to be. There's just not enough time to do all the things. I have it up so I can repair it. That's about it.
Same.
I have one crafter at 80, one gatherer at 80, only so I could do dailies.
Yep.
That was it.
These tribes.
That was it.
For minions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You bet your sweet ass if it's for minions.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know Magic is a minion man. I'm a minion person. Adam, are you a
Adam
minion
is
person?
not. He's
I
a
am not.
mount collector,
Reverse.
though.
I'm a mount collector.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
we
I'm
go.
very, very big on mounts. I'm almost got my second mount from Bozja, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, Adam and I were playing the other day. I was leveling a pally, and he's like, "So how many minions do you have?" And I think it was 312 at the time.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah, I got
But
two
yeah.
of them from
Edging me.
Bozja so far. So, I didn't get any of the mounts though. So the and he was like, "Holy shit, you crushed me!" And I was like, "Yeah, I love the minions." I was like, "How many mounts do you have?" I'm gonna, because by proxy, right? If you farm minions, you end up with a fair amount
With
of mounts
mounts,
too, in that process, and not just from dailies, but from other places. So I'm like, "Yeah, I got 300 and some minions. How many mounts you got, Adam?" He's like, "Oh, 150, whatever it was." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm
Jesus
just gonna,
Christ. I
just
didn't
gonna
even know there
shut
was
up
that
about how many I have, because what was I, like 51, Adam?"
There's not very many mounts obtainable in the game that I don't have. There are a few, but there's not many.
Speaking of prizes, Unreal Shiva rotates out. New Unreal incoming. Yay.
Yay. No, I'm like legit. I'm excited about it.
It's fine. I liked Unreal Shiva. I thought the fight was cool. It was a pain in the ass dealing with like old school Final Fantasy
Moving the
XIV.
boss.
Yeah, boss mechanics and hitboxing and stuff like that. I mean, that was kind of irritating, but was fun too. The first time you're like, why is she behaving? Oh, because that's the way the whole game behaved back then. So yeah, I think it was interesting. I'm not a fan of rotating content out. I don't like stuff like that. So that's where not that she wasn't interesting. I liked that fight. I am excited for a new Unreal a new Unreal fight. That's fine. I will do it. I love them. I hate the leaves system, the reward system, but whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of janky.
It's just way overpriced. And speaking of overpriced, we're going to talk about something a little later that's even more ridiculously overpriced, if you can believe that. So yeah, I like the fight. I like the new fight. I don't like content rotating out. Not this type, like Halloween events. Okay, fine, that makes sense to me. Rotate it out for Halloween. But this, why rotate it out? Stop that.
I don't like it either. I'm with you on that. Like, there's no reason why I can't live in the game. I feel like, I don't know. They did say it was too hard. They did comment on that. They think that I guess people were failing it. They did mention that. So I think the thing was,
the only thing that was hard was like that there was a DPS check in it.
Right,
and
a lot
with
of
you
people
being
fail the DPS
with you
check,
being
and
scaling,
the damage is very high.
Yeah, with you being scaling, the DPS check was more critical than it normally would have been.
What happened to Yoshi P and Get Good?
Yeah, honestly, I had fun doing her. I farmed her a lot when she was relevant back in the day. I didn't. I kind of.
I'm sorry, both Tark and I, our faces were like, "Did you really want to?" I had fun doing her.
You know what I meant. Not that way, but God, now I can't stop thinking about what I just said.
Anyways,
But yeah, no, I farmed Shiva back then. I farmed Shiva now. I don't. I kind of stopped doing my weekly clears though because I kind of got burnt out on it.
Yeah.
To be honest, it was kind of just became more of a chore than fun.
it is just a chore. Yeah, it's a chore.
I mean, we're gonna get Titan next, right? I mean, this has
It's
got to
got
be
to be.
Titan.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to
I
be
don't want
landslide.
Titan.
It has to
I
be
don't want
landslide.
Titan.
It's
I don't
got.
want Titan.
I feel like they're hyping it up too much. It's gonna be Titan.
It probably is going to be Titan, but I'd rather see Rama.
Ramu was rough back then.
Yeah,
I can't.
I'd rather see
And
Titan.
It's super rough now.
I'd rather see Titan. Explorer mode for dungeons. This is kind of neat if you're into screenshots and stuff like that. You can run into the dungeons, no monsters, and you'll be able to mount and a target dummy if you want to do some spell effects and stuff. But initially, it's only going to be the 5X dungeons, so expansion stuff. The rest coming later.
Can we just call it what it is? Ethis Asher mode.
Yeah, it's for
I mean,
content.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's gonna get some hate, right? Because they're gonna people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's what a waste of resources." But I think it's fine. There's no way it took that much effort
No,
for them to do.
no, it couldn't have.
You just take the husk. You don't have the enemies in there. Go in, enjoy the scenery.
Yeah.
The stuff you don't really look around because you're busy fighting.
Yep. Blue, and so the rest of this is kind of UI. A lot of the rest of this was UI because they did have special guests coming in and talking about the entire UI. Yoshi P talked, and then they had Kei Otagiri come in and talk about UI and answer a bunch of questions. We're not going to go through all of them. I grabbed a couple of the more interesting ones because a lot of the questions were really, hey, that's not possible, or hey, that's something we've considered, but it's not possible, or hey, that's something we can consider in the future. So we're going to skip all of those and get right to the big news, Adam. The big news. A classic Final Fantasy Blue UI is being planned. It is in the works. Yay. You were asking for that, right? I'm pretty sure you sent me an email all about that after the live letter.
I'm probably gonna use it. I'll be honest.
I will too.
Like, I'm not. It's definitely would like if I'm making a list of things I requested from the game, it wasn't on the list, but
Yep.
Not even close.
I'm definitely gonna use it. So
I absolutely will be using this. 100%. That's a good question, Niabara. When do we get the RGB sliders for it? That's a really good question. Tarkoth, you don't care about this? You're just like, whatever.
Nope. The only UI thing I want is a personal DPS meter because when you're
Nope.
on PS4,
Not gonna happen.
you're never
Never gonna happen.
a personal one, just for me.
Never gonna happen.
No one else.
I agree with you. Because as a raider, I think it's a great way to use to improve if you use it the right way. But they've just been very adamant.
I'm not disagreeing with you that it would be cool to have, but it's just not going to happen. It
And
just
that's
isn't.
one of the disadvantages for being PS4 is that you don't have that option to use the program that shall not be named.
They call it by name. So,
Yeah, they do. They do.
yeah, they know it exists.
Speaking of PS4, a PS5 specific version of the game will be coming. Until then, the PS4 version can be used on a PS5 if you are buying the new console. The only real performance that Yoshi P spoke of was that the hardware should decrease some of the load times, not counting things that already take additional resources, things like your bandwidth or the number of people in a queue, right? So like matchmaking and things like that. But as far as load times for zones, the game itself, those should be improved. If you're playing on a PS4 Pro, you're already playing upscaled 4K, so you'll be able to do that here as well. But you're still going to have to wait for like the official optimized version for the PS5. So I guess I should ask that question. How many on the panel here will be purchasing PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X?
Yes.
Yeah.
On launch? Is there an on launch?
As soon as one's available?
I have both of mine on launch. So yeah.
Okay, I won't have either on launch.
Yeah.
I've fully converted to PC. However, for a game that I'm sure we're going to talk about at the end of this, I will have one by the time that comes out.
All right. Good man. Good man.
So
yeah, absolutely. So I will have both of them on launch. We'll be doing an unboxing and streaming on both the 10th and the 12th for the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 here on Ready Check Radio For those of you listening on Spotify, not watching video and haven't seen the URL, head on over to readycheckradio.com. Radio spelled RAIDEO, like an MMO raid. Very clever of us. Sometimes we're a little too clever for our own good. Head on over to the website. We've got the Relic Grind podcast. We've got 2 more podcasts coming up. If you're a fan of Blizzard and World of Warcraft, any Blizzard products, there will be Snowbound, a show airing next week for the first time. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Of course, we have the Relic Grind starting today, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll have our third show, Gaming Gumbo, a general gaming show airing on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. We hope you give us a follow on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all that fun stuff, so that you get you can come and hang out live, watch the shows with us. We also have a team of streamers, like I'm not even joking, a team of streamers streaming all kinds of games, consoles, PCs, MMOs, not MMOs, all over the place. They'll be coming live. So we do a lot over here. We hope you'll come check us out. Spread the word. Talk to your friends. Get them to follow us. And come on, hang out with us. So expect PS5 and Xbox content the second week of November. Last thing from the live letter before we talk about Bozja is, or the Fan Fest, obviously, the rest of them canceled. I don't think anybody was surprised by this, right?
Super sad.
Okay.
I'm super sad.
They may go digital. They're not sure. More info to come. So might get something else. But they are planning in February of 2021, they're going to do like a 14-hour live stream event. That's got to be the next expansion announcement, Adam. Has to be, right? Because
they always do the 14-hour thing, actually.
Right. But this has to replace and give us...
100%.
Yeah, okay.
100%. Yeah, it's 100%. It's the expansion thing, but I think I'm just saying more so the 14-hour thing is probably going to be like them logging onto servers, playing the game with the other players like they always do. But before that, like because it's going to be part of that event, they're definitely announcing the expansion. 100%.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Tarkov, disagree?
Nope, don't disagree. And there should be some weird challenge where someone needs to collect all of something within 14 hours, or they get the cane. So that'll be interesting too.
All
yes,
right.
Expansion.
Expansion. Discussed in the live. By the way, I guess we should say we did kind of see out there potential names for that expansion through some trademark / copyright filings that become public knowledge over the last 48 to 72 hours. Do we think that Forspoken is the expansion name? What do you think, Tark?
I like it.
I do too.
I like it.
Adam?
It's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it yet. This is actually the first time I'm hearing it. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, so some trademarks found, and it was for North America, Forspoken, Forspoken, kind of means, depending on usage, but generally means like bewitched, or put under a spell to be Forspoken. And I kind of dig it.
Usually they're true, right? Because I feel like Shadowbringers and Stormblood were the same way. Like the trademarks came out and they matched up, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it's probably what it is.
I think so too.
That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about it because I hadn't heard it. So yeah, it's interesting. That's making me think a lot. My brain's moving.
Breaking news on the show.
Breaking news.
Well, for one of the hosts. So breaking news for the host. And to be fair to Adam, that was not in the show notes because the show notes were completed prior to that, and it wasn't something big that I was like, let's make a topic. It was like, let's just throw it in here.
That's interesting. No, that's really cool. So.
Yep. So let's talk about Bozja, however you say it. I don't care. I say Bozja. This was mentioned or talked about quite extensively in the live letter, but we're kind of putting it by itself here because it did become available 2 days ago. All three of us. Well, I know Adam, you've finished all the way through Castrum. Tark, did you?
No. Real life jobs and stuff. Just time is valuable.
No. That's fine. I'm just trying to get.
Got to rank 7.
You got to rank 7?
Yep.
Okay, that's right where I'm at too. I was literally before the show, I was about to hit rank 8. So you and I are roughly in the same place. Adam, I already know some of the stuff that happens, but let's stay away from anything that somebody might be upset about spoiler wise.
No spoilers.
There's not really spoilers. They're really super mild at best, but just in case here. I think the first question we've got to take a look at here is, Obviously, this gets compared to Eureka an awful lot because it's moving
Sure.
the whole relic and all that stuff, and it's this own world grind and all that stuff. So, out of the way first, Adam, we'll start with you. You like this better than Eureka?
Easily. Yeah, I don't even think it's close.
Not even. It's the shortest answer ever. Like, yeah, easily.
It's not close. It's not
Yeah.
close at all.
Because
Okay.
when I went into Animos, I was done within an hour or two. I was like, this is not me. I'm out. I'll see you guys later. And I didn't finish Animos until about a year later when I came back to the game, and I was like, I really want the Ozma mount, so guess we're getting all the way to BA. Yeah, but this was like actually fun. I mean, granted, the beginning part is just kind of fates and stuff. But once you start doing the critical engagements, it's actually a lot of fun. I don't know how you guys feel.
No, I it's kind of a joke question here because I leaps and bounds over Eureka for me. I stopped doing Eureka. I will finish Bozja. The next question, which we'll ask in a little bit, is will I do it again or do it more? And I think that's going to be situational, so we'll get to that in a second. You, Chris, you're better than Eureka as well?
100,000 million %. I spent maybe 2 hours in Eureka, and I basically couldn't stop until I actually had to go to work. So I spent 5 hours on launch day. So a million times better.
You mean in
It's
Bozja?
so much more fast paced. Bozja, yeah.
Okay.
Bozja. It's fast paced. Where Eureka, it was slow going,
Right.
killing one single
let's
mob.
not sugarcoat it though. It is still just mindless grinding. I mean,
Right, so
yeah.
let me just,
No,
there's one difference.
I mean, so I guess the big things, right? They definitely took a lot of feedback.
They
for
definitely did.
Absolutely.
I think they might have
They
taken
listened.
too much in some respects.
That's fair. That's definitely a fair point. But like being able to mount instantly, that's a big thing.
Yes, please, thank you.
Random mobs, when you first get in there, you'll probably start killing them because you're like, oh, I must have to kill these random mobs to break up, and then you realize they only really give you other things that you can use later. So really, they're driving you more toward the fates, which are definitely more interactive than, say, pulling 20 mobs together and just killing the same mob, hoping you spawn an NM. On top of the fact that they spawn very often and then lead to these things that are called critical engagements, which is actually, in my opinion, the fun part of being in there.
Right, and that's where I was kind of putting a distinction in this. It is a grind, just like Eureka. You are killing monsters. You are essentially doing fates. But the key difference, you kind of beat me to it. I alluded to it. The one key difference is that those more important fights are spawned by doing the actual skirmishes throughout the map, and they are spawning with pretty good frequency, at least right now. It'll be interesting when there's not so many players in there, making sure that those fates are falling, those skirmishes are falling very quickly. To see what those start to look like. It does scale those skirmishes a little bit to the number of players there, but if you only have 3 or 4 people doing a skirmish, it still takes quite a bit of time right now. I like the way this is set up. I also like that some of the more important fights, they have some serious mechanics here.
Oh,
they're
no doubt.
I mean, anybody that's seen Red Chocobo, it's back. But even that one aside, some of the other ones have some really, I think, on par mechanics with some trials that we have fought, which makes it a lot more exciting and a lot more fun to do. Even though at the end of the day, Tark, it is still a grind. That's all it is a secondary grind.
It's a grind, but I didn't even feel like it was a grind though. So that's where I'm feeling it's so much better than Eureka. Is I wasn't even concerned about it. I'm going from fate to fate to fate to fate, and then I get to automatically pop into a critical engagement and have this cool boss fight, and I don't have to run to it. I queue up with the party, and it just puts me in it. It's awesome. I love it. And again, the mechanics are pretty difficult. There's some pretty difficult bosses in there. The Red Chocobo we've already mentioned. They can do so much with the system. They can mix and match and use it as a test bed for other mechanics. I'm excited to see what they can do with these critical engagements. and I just want to get into a one-on-one duel. That's my hope as a scholar.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that. So I got selected for a one-on-one duel, but did not get it. Did you get one, Adam?
Yes, I've fought a couple times now. Only the first. So there's 3 one-on-one duels, one in each section of the map. They're all connected to a critical engagement. The bottom one's it's a scorpion boss. The middle one's the red chocobo. So the red chocobo spawns a 1v1. However, the reason you probably haven't seen it yet, this is the reason I didn't see it the first day, is in order to spawn that, you cannot get hit.
Yeah, you can't get hit at all.
Someone in your 48-man fight cannot get hit at all. Then the top one, I think it's not the behemoth fight. I think there's a fight up top that spawns another 1v1. I've gotten the bottom one twice, and I've been able to fight them. I died the first time, didn't really know like what was happening. Got to the crazy part. Second time, I kind of was more prepared, but then died because I didn't have a lost action that I needed. And I got him below. I got him to about like 45% ish or so. So I'm gonna down one at some point. But it's a lot of fun. I think a lot of people are complaining because, like you said, you got picked, you got selected because you didn't get hit. But what happens is you actually go into another queue,
right?
Where where then one person.
Yeah, there were 12 of us that were selected for the one-on-one, and then I forget the way it words it. It says evaluating combatants or something like that.
Yeah.
And then only one of the 12 that were already selected actually gets to go and do it. So, yeah, I got picked, but I didn't get to actually do the one-on-one engagement.
It's definitely fun. If you go in there blind, though, you're gonna die. 100%.
Oh yeah.
Every mechanic that you fail.
I would just remind everybody watching that if you haven't done this yet, just maybe refresh yourself on red light, green light, yellow light, stop. I mean, that's a good childhood game that maybe you want to. I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe think about the rules to that game, and maybe keep them in the back of your head. But there are some other things going on here besides it being a grind, besides it being related to the resistance weapons, the relic weapon grinds and stuff like that. You can only access it at level 71, but it does level. You can, even though you're automatically 80 when you're in there, you can use this to level other classes from 71 through 80, which has been incredible, by the way. I mean, we don't have a deep dungeon for this level group. I went in on my white mage, who I don't really play. I just keep it leveled for oddball things, running people through things, stuff like that. I got it. I was only leveling it to 80 through the fairy dailies, the Dream Spinners dailies. And so I think it was like level 75 or 76 when I first walked in here into Bozja and started. It is halfway to 80. It is 79 and a half right now after... What? I mean, I'm rank 7, almost rank 8, so let's say 6 to 8 hours-ish. I mean, that's pretty damn good. That is pretty damn good. When you're getting, like, for anywhere from 750,000 to 1.8 or sometimes even more million experience for the skirmishes and even more for the critical encounters, it is a decent clip to be burning from 71 through 80, which immediately gives this more replayability than Eureka. Immediately gives it a lot, because it didn't feel bad. the leveling, you can't have special actions and all that stuff, but if this type of thing you just hate, this just isn't for you, but you do like the relic grind and the resistance weapon grind and stuff like that, you don't have to do this. And it's really weird. I mean, you're gonna have to do it once, right? Because you got to open up the quests. Right? Yeah. You have to go through you have to get to at least rank, what is it, 8, I think opens up Castrum, or is it 10?
10 opens up Castrum.
10 opens up Castrum. And you have to get to a certain point in this quest line to actually be gathering the items for the resistance weapons.
No, actually no.
Okay.
You can do
how have I missed this then? Go ahead.
So there's a second quest outside. You might not, I don't know if you got it.
I didn't go back out.
So outside there's actually a second quest that links to the resistance weapons. You talk to the guy beside Geralt. So once you talk to him and you select what class you want to do, you have to be on the class when you start the quest. At that point, doesn't matter what class you're on, as long as you have that relic weapon, the old one, the one that costs 1,000 poetics in your inventory. when you're in Bozja, you'll collect these things from doing fates and killing monsters. It's like a random drop chance. You also have the option to go to Heavensward fates
Right.
in any of the areas.
This
to
is
get
the
those
part that
same
I
drops.
was thinking about too. I wanted to talk about because if you don't want to do Bozja, there is another method. Now, I thought you still had to do a portion of Bozja to get the quest to start picking up the items. So I'm corrected. That is outside Bozja.
The only thing you have to do is have the resistance weapon that costs 1,000 poetics, or the free one that you got from doing the quest.
Right. That's
it.
So the alternate way here is 60 fates in Heavensward zones and then like 6 dungeons, something like that. I don't know if once I run through Bozja I'm ever really going to go back there. I might use it as an alternate leveling for 71 through 80, but it just doesn't have the replayability for me. And
it's also faster to do it outside.
I was just about to say, there is a huge speed difference doing it outside. Not only could I, grind maybe, whatever, a character in the 50s through 65-ish range, but I can fly, everything's been guaranteed. Like, how many fates you're going to do, how many dungeons you're going to do, and you go do it. That you don't have to rely on the RNG. It's just a lot easier and probably in most cases, unless you're stupid lucky, a lot faster. So I think the only time after I do the whole Bozja run the first time and finish Castrum, the only time I'm going to go back there, maybe, is if I want to level something from 71 through 80. I would not personally do the relic or the resistance weapon grinding there. I'm so glad there's another option, but I don't think they're exactly balanced, Adam.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. I think it's good that they're doing this for several reasons. First,
I'm not bitching either. I'm not bitching.
I also like I always do my white mage relic. That's my main. Even though I have all the ultimate weapons, I still always do my my white mage relic. When I did Eureka, it felt really painful because I was like, man, I really wish there was an option where I'm not in here because the second area was pretty dead when I started back again. I had to find Discord. I had to go back in there to get parties, and it was extremely painful to finish that relic. Whereas this time, even say Bozja is outdated a year from now, and people want to go back and they want to do, I really want the Shadowbringers relics. They don't have to go into Bozja and try to kill stuff by themselves or convince people to come with them. They can just go to these Heavensward fates, which I think is a great thing. I mean, maybe the fact that it's faster might be a little kind of weird because you probably want it to be faster in Bozja if you actually have people in Bozja.
Right, and Niabari in chat brings up a point that I wanted to bring up here is, remember the free trial just got extended through Heavensward.
I was going to say that too, yeah.
So new players have all the way through 60 content and the Heavensward expansion for totally free to be able to play. Yep. And this does make your expansion zones, your 50 through 60 zones, look maybe a little more populated, Tarkoth, than they normally are.
Yeah, because they've been pretty desolate because no one does it. So yeah, this is a good thing to have multiple options for relics because Eureka was bad. You had to do Eureka, and it wasn't fun. So having multiple options, populating those zones that are a little bit desolate, make it a little bit more appealing to those new trial players to keep going past the free trial. So all in all, win-win-win for everyone.
Yeah, Adam, now that you've told me that, I really don't want to finish Bozja. I mean, I'm going to because I'm already rank 7, just a couple ranks away from being done, and I want to do Castrum at least once. But when you get to Castrum and you start farming the coins and stuff to get the Bozja gear and everything, we alluded to it earlier in the show, the prices are ridiculous. They're ridiculous. 1,000 coins for shit, and you're getting 20 to 50 for a Castrum run that's taking you, depending on your group, anywhere from, let's say, 35 minutes to an hour.
35 is a good run.
Yeah, 35 is a damn good run. I said depending on your group. I said depending on your group. There's just no way. I don't care about that gear enough to even remotely. This is why I didn't like the rewards from Unreals. Yeah, I don't care about those rewards enough at those prices to even remotely concern myself with trying to do them.
I think I see what they're trying to do. Go ahead, Tarko. Sorry.
No, I was just agreeing with him. for
Yeah, I think I see what they're trying to do though with this. And I don't really like it. So if you just want the just the armor for itself, I think a chest piece is like 50 or something. And then the hand, like, so if you just want the glamour without the Bozja effects on it, it's not great, but it's not terrible. Now if you want the
Yeah,
haste
but it's
armor,
taking you basically one run per piece. If you're just looking for the glamour
yeah,
stuff, if you do
right.
everything right through a run.
Right. So with my first run, obviously we didn't do everything right. I got 22 coins.
Yeah.
That gives you a good idea. So I think a good run probably gets you somewhere like 30 something. So you're still gonna go run twice to get a chest piece. I think these coins are gonna carry into the next whatever we do. And I think you're probably gonna get more for doing content in the next Bozja, whatever they call it, Northern Front or whatever they decide to call it. And I think that's why these things are so expensive. But you're gonna have these people. Some people are farming it because they want to go into that new BA day one, and they want to have the best chance to clear.
They
But
want to have
more
all
power
the
to
haste.
them. More power to them, because you know how many castrum runs that's gonna take.
Ugh.
It's
A lot.
999 coins
Yeah, it's
for
1,000.
a chest and a leg.
Yep.
500 coins per hand, boots, head. It's a lot.
It's
Plus, you got to pay for the
ridiculous.
armor itself.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's awful.
So it's not cheap.
Okay. All in all, final word, your opinions on it. Adam, you initially, I saw on Facebook when you had cleared it on Tuesday, said that was fun, but I don't know if I'll do it again. I am firmly in that camp where I probably will not do this again. Unless I really just get in a pinch and I'm like, I really want to get this class from 71 to 80 as fast as possible. I don't really want to do dungeon spam. I'm just going to go do this for a day and call it done. That's the only time I can see me doing this. I don't care about the haste gear enough to put myself through that type of pain while paying a subscription to do it. There's too many other things I could be doing in this game. Do you still feel the same way, Adam? You liked it. That was cool. But you probably not again, or have you changed your mind after a few days of basking in it?
I've done a few castrums. It's fun. I don't think I'm going to repeat it a ton of times. I want my healer armor. I'll probably get that. And then I want my mounts. Once I get those two things, I don't know how much I'm going to touch it, to be honest.
I want my minions,
fun.
and I have a parasol.
Yep.
I got a sexy new parasol, so that's
there you go.
That's
Yeah.
good.
There you go.
What about
Other than that, I'll probably just be helping people. Sorry.
What about you, Tark?
I haven't gotten to the point where I'm disliking it yet. I'm still, only rank 7. So I'm in the camp right now where I'm going to keep playing it. I'm enjoying it. I love the fast pace of the fate to fate critical engagement. I foresee me realizing, okay, this is a little bit too much, especially with the cost of the gear. Min-maxing has never been my big strong suit. So I'm probably going to get to the point where it's going to be like, okay, I'm done. But for right now, I'm enjoying it.
All right. Well, before we sign off today, let's go through some other smaller Square Enix news that happened over this past week. First off, Final Fantasy XVI. Obviously, about a month ago, we saw the reveal trailer at the PS5 conference. That game could launch, and I said this that day, and I said it again on State of the Realm, and now a bunch of other people are running with it. Yay. That could probably launch sooner than most of us think. From a Square Enix recruitment post for job postings, we get this, quote, "We have already completed basic development and scenario production and are continuing to create large-scale resources and build boss battles while expanding our various development tools. Also, most of our staff are carrying out their work remotely." Now, the key phrase there being, Tark, of course, we have already completed basic development and scenario production. That's a pretty big deal that you would not be saying on a job post unless you were very, very far in development, which is something I speculated a while ago that this is probably further than most people think. Does that mean it's coming out in 2021? I don't think so. I think it's a 2022 title, but it's definitely not, in my book, a 2025 title.
No. And I think the key point of the trailer that makes us realize that it's coming sooner rather than later is that we actually got to see gameplay. Usually when you see a reveal trailer, it's all cinematic. the fact that we actually got to see gameplay, some combat, Dragoon in its rightful place, tanking the floor, that leads me to believe that this is coming sooner rather than later. Probably the very end, holiday 2021. I'm hoping, but more likely that
Really?
nice Square Enix. Maybe that's sweet.
No, okay,
Square
honestly,
Enix
are you
spot
hoping?
of
Like,
March,
I get
April.
hoping that it would be next
I'm hoping.
holiday, but like, do you honestly think there's a possibility that it's holiday 2021 title?
If you believe that Yoshi and Naoki have been working on this since 2016,
And I don't think there's
4
any reason
years.
not to think that, given that we know for a fact a lot of those people that are working on 16 left the 14 team around that time to go on this project.
I'm hopeful, but I'm more realistic. That's going to be probably that sweet Square Enix spot of March or April of 2022. I'm hyped.
Adam, what do you think?
I'm thinking 2022. Honestly, even though this came out, I'm still thinking like remake part 2 is going to come out before this game comes out.
Yeah. So what I'm
start.
trying to think about here, if we go with the typical timelines, we would have what? We would have our next expansion for 14 would typically be like what, June, July of 2021, wouldn't it? 2 years.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So, I mean, I don't think we're going to get the expansion right around then.
No, August, September.
Yeah, I think it'll be pushed back a little bit. So let's say like August, September, maybe even October, since they've had a bit of delay stuff. So if that puts that in the September-October window of next year, I don't think we're going to get it 16 for the holidays. And then you still have 7, which I just don't see 7's part 2 next year either.
No.
I see that as probably the sweet spot you were mentioning, Chris. I see that as maybe the February, March title of 2022, and then 16 probably summer, early fall of 2022. I guess that's kind of just the way I'm mapping it out in my head.
I don't think they're going to release both those titles in the same quarter, right?
Definitely definitely not the same quarter.
No.
I would put them at least half a year apart. We do February, March, and then like a July, August, late summer, early fall for 16 in 2022.
See, I'm not seeing 7 Remake Part 2 ready until end of 2022, maybe beginning of 2023. I don't think they're all that far along in it.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, if you move that title, then yeah, I think your sweet spot window becomes Final Fantasy XVI. I just maybe I'm giving them a little more credit than they deserve as far as how far along the development for Part 2 is. And I'm giving them that credit based on statements that they have said prior to Part 1 even coming out on where they were with some things, but who knows what's held up and if their schedule is held up. It'll be fun though. I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna leave this topic just for a second. You're probably wondering why I didn't ask anybody's opinion on 16. We'll get to that in just a second. Other Square Enix news. Square Enix Twitter did tweet out that Bravely Default 2 info is coming soon. So maybe we'll see a release of that this year. I hope so. I love that game. Either of you play Bravely Default?
I played the first one.
Yeah.
I played a little bit. It's right here on my DS. Haven't got real far in it, but it is an excellent game.
Looking forward to 2 or just whatever?
With it on my Switch, absolutely.
Adam?
I'll probably buy it. Yeah, the first one was good.
Does it come out this year? I mean, that was the intention. Does it still come out this year? Or does the Twitter saying, hey, more info coming soon, maybe lead you the other way, that it's a Q1 2021 title now?
It feels like it's going to be Q1, but that's kind of where my gut is.
I think so, too. I think it's going to be a delay.
If it doesn't come out in the next Nintendo Direct, which I'm hoping there's still one this month, if it doesn't come out with that, it's definitely coming out next year.
Speaking of delays and next year, Outriders, the 1 to 3 person co-op shooty game coming, was delayed until February 2021. I'm kind of okay with this because my wallet is just so sore right now from the October and November timeline, not just with the consoles, but with all the titles coming out. Then I have 3 kids, and December has Christmas. I mean, so I'm kind of okay with this. This is a game I'm looking forward to. When it launches, full crossplay, upgrades to new-gen consoles confirmed free. So if you buy it on PS4 and then get a PS5 or the Xbox One and you get an Xbox Series S or X, those upgrades are free. That's all great news, very customer-centric news. Glad to see that it's, following in the vein of most productions, but delayed till February 2021. Do either of you, I'm really excited about this game, and I'm not generally into shooters, but I do love looter shooter games. So this is, I'm looking forward to it. Either of you on the Outriders train?
Mildly. I want to see the UI go away from Destiny. I'm excited that it's not a live service game. So
yeah, it's all in one box. Think more Borderlands than like a Division.
Borderlands, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's part of why maybe they needed to push it back. The world we live in now, but they need to make this a complete experience, because they're not going to have those live updates like some games have. So I hope they take the time to flesh it out, make it a complete experience, and we'll definitely check it out when it comes around.
Adam, you going to be part of my squad, or is this a game you don't care about?
It's not something super on my radar, honestly. Like first-person games are something I haven't really been big into in quite some time, to be honest. I don't really know why. I can't really put my finger on it. Resident Evil went first person, and I for some reason like it less. I can't really explain it.
7 was so good.
No, it's a good game. It's
was good.
It's just weird that but yeah, I probably won't be picking it up. But I'll look at it. Anything kind of Square Enix related, I still kind of keep my eye on it.
Right.
So if it ends up being good and a lot of people like it, I could see myself picking it up. So.
Well, speaking of, it's probably better news that it's not a live service game. Square doesn't seem to really be doing all that well with its live service games right now. Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix having a bit of a rough time with the Marvel Avengers title, with crossplay still not being a thing, and really it has to be a thing at this point. The game's in trouble if it doesn't manage to sort this out a little bit. Because even on Steam, we're seeing less than 2,000 players online, at times less than 1,000. And for a game that does not have cross-platform play, segregates all 3 of its audiences to their own platforms, this is just... Oh, by the way, the entire end game is built around matchmaking with other people. Oh, and by the way, I mean, if we could just... God, it just keeps getting worse, right? Just keep adding to it.
It's so bad.
By the way, when you matchmake for this end game stuff, you cannot be the same hero as another person that is playing. So anybody picking Hulk, boom, you cannot matchmake with the Hulk or that player. It's becoming a bit of a nightmare. Now, today, finally, they did release the Tachyon missions updates, so there is a little bit more content. Now, they were Crystal Dynamics was pinning a lot of hope on on this update, and I think it might have been a little wishful thinking. So here's
their number.
Go ahead.
Their numbers spiked maybe 500 players today. That's about it. So they got up to 2,100, 2,200 on Steam. It's not a good scenario right now for them.
Yeah, so Kotaku reached out to Scott Amos as the studio head, and I'm going to read you, not the entire statement, but I'm going to read you portions, and gentlemen, I want your opinion on it, on both of these. So to our players, this was basically in response to the question of, look, your player base is really suffering. You don't have a lot of players right now. It's a game that's all about matchmaking. What are you doing? By the way, there's a shit ton of problems with the game. By the way, loot kind of sucks in the game. You can't even see it on your character. It's just a snowball effect. I just get shades of Anthem, and I think that's what immediately comes to everybody else's mind when a looter shooter now goes awry, as you kind of think of Anthem. Yeah. So Amos had this to say: to our players, every day we fight to make the best game possible for our community. We have a great community management team at Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix who funnel all of your concerns, suggestions, and feedback to the development team daily. We are listening. We are making fixes, improvements, and additions as fast as we safely can. Weird phrasing. to make Marvel's Avenger the game we all aspire it to be. So basic PR bullshit, right?
Yeah.
As such, we have a number of new content pieces coming in the weeks ahead, including a totally new Warzone mission type called Tachyon Rifts that did launch today, a new outpost that's a jumping off point for new story missions in the future, and AIM's cloning lab, which requires a coordinated high-level group of 4 players to beat with new top-end loot rewards for finishing it. And in each of these updates, we do tuning and bug fixing to enhance the overall experience. Then they went on to talk about 2 new heroes coming out in the future. By the way, one of them is exclusive to the PlayStation, so that really doesn't matter for the other 2 platforms. Whatever. When you get Spider-Man in the mix. And to be fair, that update did go live today. It did add that mission type. It did do a number of quality of life improvements that some people were really looking forward to. But I think the end is like, it's written on the wall already for this one, Tark. And I own this game, full disclosure. I beat the main campaign, and even I was just like, yeah, I love looter shooters. I don't know why, considering that over the last 5 years, there hasn't been one that released on day one that actually was enjoyable. Like Destiny 2 salvaged itself, I think, in a lot of respects. Anthem, who knows what the hell's going to happen with that rebuild. Here we are, another one. This makes me I pre-ordered Godfall. I'm an idiot. Like, I'm like, no, please do it right. Here's money in advance. Do it right. So we'll be streaming that on PS5 launch day, doing some Godfall. Hopefully, it'll be a good experience. But I have not touched this game personally in forever. And I don't know if they didn't release anything about timelines and there's just nothing that I see on the drawing board that makes me really want to return to this one, Tark.
That's the problem. They don't have any content. There was technical problems in beta. I was having problems with motion blur and feeling nauseous while seeing all the screen shakes. They ironed some of that stuff out, but there's still this problem with content. They just don't have any. People are getting all of their characters up to power level 150, and they're like, okay, I'm done. There's nothing for me to do. There's no reason for me to log in. And there's nothing in the future that's coming out right away that's going to change that. I don't understand how these companies are producing these live service games, and they're not understanding that you still need to present a full package for people to keep wanting to play for months on end. And it just baffles me.
It's also, Adam, one of those games where even just the look is just really bad. It's really bad optics when you have all this like over monetization and over advertising, like with Verizon and Intel and all these different but like all of that is working great. It's working fine, and there's so much of it in the game. Oh, but yeah, hold on. We're gonna spend some time fixing bugs, which is gonna delay content. Oh, but there isn't enough content, and it's just a really bad look all the way around. Do you foresee that we're gonna be getting hey, we're gonna put a pause on things, go back to the drawing board, and fix some things, a la Destiny 2, a la Anthem? Are we gonna see that here with Avengers?
I kind of hope so. This game's been really weird. I've been up and down on this game. When they first announced it, I was like, why? This looks really bad. And then eventually got convinced to buy it. I bought it. I played the beta. Had tons of problems with the beta. Yeah. I refunded my purchase immediately. And then now I see all these issues coming out post-launch. I still try to follow the game. Like, maybe should I pick it up? And
not yet.
The more I think about it, I'm just like, no, I'm good. The whole exclusive stuff kind of rubs me the wrong way too. Yeah. And then it just seems like they kind of, can't get their stuff together. It's the way it kind of feels. And it almost feels like you said, they should just put it on hold and just kind of figure out, like, they need to get the game in a presentable way where like people are having fun, because it seems like they're losing players and no one's having fun, and they're just going to continue to kind of bleed that out. Yeah, like they're going to keep losing
how
players.
Have these companies not realized? Like, it's not like this is the first one out of the gate. We have seen most looter shooters go down this road lately. Like, how do you not avoid those pitfalls? I just don't get it. It seems dumb. It seems like hubris we know what we're doing. We're not going to fall into those traps. Oh shit, we fell into those traps. It's just the greed of it, Tark. The greed of the faster we get this on, the faster the dollars roll in.
The greed of it, the monetization is just atrocious in this game. But maybe they were just thinking, oh, the IP is going to carry us. They're going to play because it's Marvel Avengers.
Hold on. I've heard that argument. And if we weren't talking about a company that understood, or at least should by now, that the IP is not going to carry a game to success, like Square Enix should know that lesson, that very valuable lesson now, I would agree with you. I don't think that holds water when we talk about this one.
It's those that don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it, right? So
they're definitely doing that.
Oh my God, it's just Anthem, Destiny 2. Here we go, Marvel's Avengers. So that's why I'm hopeful for Outriders. It's not live service. Put out a complete package. I just don't.
We'll see. All right, it's time to wrap this one up. We've been going for a little over an hour now. We got to finish with our favorite segment, one we're going to leave you with every week, give you a chance to chime in on your thoughts via comments on YouTube, over on the Ready Check Radio site, wherever you want to leave them. Let's slide over. It's time for Love It or Leave It. In this segment, here's what we do. We're going to bring up a Square Enix item. It could be a feature in a game, could be a press release, could be something they said in a post. It could be anything Square Enix related, and we're going to get all three of our opinions on whether we absolutely love this item or thing or post or game, or if we would just leave it on the wayside. And we want you to chime in the comments your thoughts. Of course, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Today, on this premiere show, we're going to start with the actual Final Fantasy XVI trailer playing on your screen right now. Love it or leave it? The Final Fantasy XVI trailer. Adam, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I loved it. Honestly, all they had to probably do was show me the logo, and I was sold. I'll be honest. I'll be honest, but as soon as you see it and you hear him talking, you're like, okay, is it? And you see the Square Enix logo, and you're like, okay, I think it is. And then you see Shiva, and you're like, okay, yeah, we're done. You can cut it off. Show over. I'm gonna buy this. This is gonna maybe buy a console, right? Easily. I'm interested to see where my only reserve about it is I really want to see where the combat goes. And the trailer shows a little bit of it. We're not really sure exactly how it works yet. We're not really sure how many party members we have yet. But I'm absolutely buying this game, and I'm absolutely absolutely love it. It's not even remotely close to anything else.
And we're not talking about the game. We're just talking about the trailer. So you still love it, even though we're just talking about the trailer.
The trailer itself is still really good. Visually, this game looks amazing. You can see from the get-go that this is done by the 14 team. You
absolutely.
can already see
and hear it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, it's obviously soaking. And you could tell Yoshi P is working on this game. You didn't have to tell me that by seeing the trailer. So, with how many hours I have in 14, obviously, that makes me crazy excited too.
I love all the people that are like, oh my God, it could be such a dark Final Fantasy. Did you play Type Zero?
Type Zero.
Did you play Final Fantasy Tactics?
Yeah.
We've had dark Final Fantasy stuff.
I get very big Type Zero vibes from this, actually, with the story, just the stuff that's
the crystals powering the city. You kind of get that too. Yep. Yeah, I'm absolutely with you. Go ahead, Tarkov.
Love it. Immediately feels like Final Fantasy. It's a return to high fantasy, a la Final Fantasy IX. Even has the same parallels. 7 and 8 led to 9. 13 and 15 led to 16. So I am super stoked. The trailer is perfect. I even love the Ifrit equals Godzilla and Phoenix equals Mothra kind of vibes that was thrown in there too.
Well, who am I to break the streak here? I'm going to go with love it. I imagine most people are going to comment that they loved it too. As far as the trailer itself, I thought it was very cool. I thought the logo was awesome. I love the visuals. Yes, everything you've already mentioned. You get the 14 vibe. You get the 14 sound. You get what potentially is going to be a little bit of a darker storyline, which I'm always in favor of, even if it isn't the first time Final Fantasy has done that. I do have concerns about the game. Combat is one. You mentioned, Adam, like we don't know. There seems to be like an NPC with your player in there, but they don't actively look like they're in combat. So like, is it a party-based thing? Is it, more of a party-based a la Final Fantasy XV where you have these fucking useless NPCs and you're just generally doing anything? Is it a single player more in the vein of, maybe like an Assassin's Creed type action combat, God of War type action combat thing? Like, we don't know. There's a lot to be answered there. There's things I'm hoping for and hoping not, but as a trailer by itself, I got to give it, love it as well. So 3 love it's. Let us know what you think in the comments below. We'll read some of them on next week's show as well. Remember, that'll be Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern here on twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. You can check out all of our socials, whether that be Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, Instagram, on our website, ReadyCheckRadio.com, which is live. And you can check out all the streamers and all the shows that'll be coming to the channel. It has been an absolute pleasure, gentlemen, to launch the channel officially, doing this show with you. Adam, before we sign off, why don't you let everybody know where they can follow you personally, sir?
Sure, yeah. I post a lot on Twitter if you want to hear my terrible thoughts about most of the stuff 14 related, but I also do other stuff too on there. So my Twitter is actually right at the bottom. Feel free to do so. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Tarkoth.
You find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube at Tarkoth Gaming.
Well, that was easy enough. Well, damn. You can follow me right there at MagicMan1 on Twitter. Follow ReadyCheckRadio.com. Follow us on all the socials. We'll see you next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here, Twitch TV. Have a great one.